It's streaming data to YouTube. Let's see. Go live, go live. But it doesn't want to go live. Well, it seems to know, and it seems to like it. Cool. We could be live. It's hard to know.
Well, I'm looking at the YouTube, and it's still not live. But we'll see. What to do other than wait?
Seems like it wants to be going live, but I don't see it going live. Do you?
No.
Well, I'm live on Periscope, and Jason Palmer sees it. That's awesome. Hi, guys. We're waiting for YouTube to get live, which is acting persnickety. Why is it persnickety? Greetings.
I wonder if people can hear me. They should be able to hear me.
Yeah,
right?
people can hear you.
Really?
Definitely hear you. I mean, definitely. But let's find out why YouTube is not YouTubing. It says start sending your software from your... Restream says it's up. It says it's online. It says it's all happening.
Let me refresh YouTube. Nope, still says waiting for Shelly Palmer.
YouTube says starting in a few minutes. What does that mean? How could it be live starting in a few minutes? Amazing. Liberty Madison, how are you? That's fantastic. Thank you for joining from LinkedIn. That's wonderful.
You should tell everybody that when the YouTube is up, they should all join the...
yeah, well, that was the point. Yeah, we're trying to get that done, but YouTube seems to be thinking...
Frank is here.
Yeah, YouTube seems to be thinking. Mike Schreibman, damn, you're second. No, you could have been first. You absolutely could have been first. There's no question about it. Jason Palmer live in Periscope. That would be my brother. Outstanding. Let's see. Is this thing happening on YouTube? It doesn't look like it's doing what it's supposed to do. It certainly says it's online.
Well, we've got 17 waiting on YouTube, it says. We got Frank and Rochelle and Matthew and David in there.
Yeah. And we should be live. Oh, wow. My computer just froze. That felt impressive. What do you think that was?
Too much power.
I know. Unlimited power. It says it's live, but I don't see it. Michael Port, that's fantastic. On YouTube, you see us. Yes, you do. All right. Michael Port says we're live on YouTube. Okay, that's outstanding. Ira Wolf says we're live on YouTube. Yes, this is awesome. Okay, so we're live in a whole bunch of places. Welcome, everybody. That's fantastic.
So I see a live stream test, a different thing?
Yeah, I don't know, man, but Michael Port says we're live on YouTube. Jason says I'm live on Periscope. And Gary Einstein says awesome, which is awesome. This is fantastic.
So, Shelly, it is a different link, it looks like.
Different link?
So we have the Shelly Palmer Strategy Hacker live stream, but I have in my up next in my autoplay, I have something called live stream test that is live now with 11 watching.
Wow.
You seem to be live over there.
Wow. Live now. Scheduled. Oh, I see. Our scheduled one never launched.
Yeah, I don't know why Restream and YouTube did not cooperate.
No, not at all. I can see that now. And live stream test is live. Well, at least we're saying what it is. Hopefully people will find us. I'm hoping everyone will find us. All right. Forgot my email live stream. Andy Marks, you're here. That's wonderful. All right. Michael Port, you're here. That's great. Thomas Herman, you are here. And I'm feeling live, which is outstanding. All right. Well, Joey's standing by to kind of like produce. Scott Moss, I know you are looking to email me about what's going on, but we are going to do this as a stream today. Absolutely. So now that I think everything is live, where we've got Facebook going, we've got LinkedIn going, we've got the Periscope going, we've got Twitch going, and we've got YouTube going. I'm very excited about all that. So welcome, everybody. And today is a kind of a really interesting day for me, because today is a day that we are going to try and flex some new muscle and learn a little bit about how we might be able to get better at integrating some video game tricks and video gamer tricks with business tricks. We do so much business Zooming. We spend a lot of time, to be fair, not doing much else, but sitting on Zoom. And the problem that I have is that it is boring beyond boring. And the interactivity is a lot of people staring at you, which I kind of like, because it's like having an audience. But when you're just trying to really get people involved, everyone can't speak at once. I can read a lot faster, much, much faster than I can speak. And certainly I can read much faster than video can tell a story to me. So I was really interested in the idea that we could bring chat together from all of these formats, go out in a bunch of formats, and start to use some of the tools that the gamers use to create a actually better experience for our digital skills session. So that's what we're going to try and do today. For those of you who have not been with me before, and I actually have absolutely no way to know who is here today. So we didn't do what I was going to do, which was create a template or something for everyone to download. So because of that, we're not really going to know who joined us today, but that's okay, because that's really not the point of today. If you guys, and we can actually go all the way back here. If you are not a member of PGX, I'd love you to be. PGX is our private social network. We have just a little over 3,000 members. We've been building PGX since February. What happened in February was that they were going to cancel Mobile World Congress, and I was really worried about how to bring everybody together and what we might be able to do to keep our community intact, and also study the things we need to study and learn the things we need to learn. And so the first thought about PGX was that it would be a social network that was monitored and policed in a way that Facebook and Twitter are not. And that lasted a little while. Then a couple of things happened. One, it self-policed in many ways. Coronavirus hit really hard, and everybody wanted to talk about the things they wanted to talk about in a political frame of reference. That's backed off now. It's now basically a social network that is about topical things in our business, technology, media, entertainment, and marketing. And I'm very proud of the 3,000 people that are there, and you will enjoy meeting them. And if you're listening to me now, you are completely self-selected into that group. So please, pgx.tech. We will, in fact, let me put right now in this chat this is a whole bunch of links, including the top link will get you into PGX. So you'll be able to...
It cut off the link, Shelly.
Cut off the links?
It only shows... There's only a preview text. I think we can only send 200 characters at a time. So we got through hashtag strategyhacker.
Well, but the first link is there, and that's the only one I care about.
First link is there.
Yeah.
It is.
PGX.tech. You're in if you want to be. It's a private social network. Top link is going to get you into PGX.tech. And anyone that you are chatting with here is very likely going to be part of that social network, and we hope that you will. We hope you're going to join. This whole idea of strategy hacker, it's a hashtag I'd like to see happen. I've got my strategy hacker t-shirt. I'm very excited about it. The kids love it. I mean, that's the thing about this that is important to me, that it's always a crowd pleaser. We don't have these t-shirts for sale or anything, but I'd love you to use strategy hacker as a hashtag if you could when you're talking about the things that we're doing. You can DM me at Shelly Palmer. Happy to have you do that. We have the digital skills workshop that we are replacing right now. We spent a lot of time trying to build digital skills for the people that came to join us. And I use that as a proxy to help people with the idea of starting a side hustle. Right? In the world in which we all live right now, your side hustle is probably more important in many ways than your main job, because it allows you to really grow and expand your capabilities and upskill, if that's a word you like. So upskilling in my world means, getting a whole new set of capabilities you just didn't have before. So what we started to do in the Digital Skills Workshop back in February was on Wednesdays, right at this time, we started to go through what does it mean to make a product go direct to consumer. And that direct to consumer product, at the time, I think was a life plan roadmap. We also worked on a mission, vision, values product, which we call the brand playbook generator. At courses.shellypalmer.com, there are a lot of free downloads, and there's also some paid product. We're going to keep loading that up with more and more and more free products and more things that will help you get better at your job. And Matthew Quint, welcome. Craig DiBenedetto, welcome. Hey, look at this. The gang is all here. Frank Quinn, Doug Tate. Awesome. I feel alive. Thank you. Thank you. Aldo, good to see you there. Mindy, amazing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So you can go to courses.shellypalmer.com and find a whole bunch of stuff that we do, a bunch of free downloads too, which are cool to have. Again, Strategy Hacker is the hashtag that I'd like you to use if you could use it. And all right, let's rewind a little bit and let's figure out what we're going to do today, which is mostly talk about our friends. Whoa, okay. We're going to mostly talk about our friends at Apple. And Apple, to me, is it's the company I love to hate. It's truly the company I love to hate. The joke in the Palmer household for the last 25 years is that there is so much Apple product in the Palmer household, it looks like Steve Jobs threw up in there. And that's true. Hey, Rick Rommel, welcome. Rochelle Winters, welcome. Good to see you, or see your tweet. I do love to hate Apple. There are things about Apple that are amazing. They've empowered me to do wonderful things in my life, and the tools have been amazing. There was an early time in Apple's evolution where, they empowered everything. They were about creatives, and if you were creative, Apple was for you. Elliot Klein, welcome, and Rick Rommel, welcome, and Lisa Schwab, welcome. Glad to see you here. Thank you so much. By the way, if you guys have any questions whatsoever now, the idea is to put them here in the chat. I'm looking at all of your chats. Jim, good to see you. Greg, wow, Greg, hey, how are you? Jonathan Carmel, hello back. So I loved Apple. I still love Apple. I am not as big of a fanboy as I used to be. Larry Samuels, welcome. And Al Mercurio, welcome. And Ettore, welcome. So I want to talk today about Apple's announcement hey, Roberta Palmer, welcome, welcome. That's my mom. And a big shout out to Mom. Good to see you there. Steve Bradbury, hey. So Apple's announcement yesterday was meh, which is not a word I've ever really used before. But I was pretty unimpressed with everything about it. And I say that tongue firmly in cheek because I couldn't take my eyes off it. It was produced beautifully. It was brilliantly executed. The devices are insanely great. Insanely great. But it felt tone deaf and ridiculous, and I want to talk a little bit about that today. David Houle, welcome. So, and Steve Catola, hey, welcome. So, again, if you have questions, certainly ask them here. So, let's just go over a little bit of what was announced, because I think we should talk about what was announced. And then we can analyze it a little bit, and I'm certainly happy to answer any of your questions. Yes, the first question is 5G. We can talk a little bit about that. Let's see what's happening here at Apple applefun.com. So the iPhone 12, we can just start with our new iPhone 12 because that's where this is. They want you to think that this is 5G for real. Oh, wow, look at all this cool 5G animation. First of all, as I have said at least a million times in my career, 5G is 95% marketing hype and 5% marketing hype. There's just no other way to talk about it. It is assuming you had a 5G phone right now. When it said 5G, you might have 5G connectivity to the tower that's close by. But there's almost a guarantee that the network you're connected to is not 5G end-to-end, that somewhere there's a 4G LTE backhaul. The network topology is set up with a ton of jitter and delays, and so they're touting 1 to 3 milliseconds of latency. And there's just no way in the world that there's 1 to 3 milliseconds of latency. And when there is such a low latency, which is awesome, the jitter can be 40, 60, 80 milliseconds back and forth. And so there's nothing consistent that you can do on this network. You can't play music together. You can't, they talk about robotic surgery. Maybe a doctor could deal with a robo-scalpel that reacted within 45 to 100 milliseconds cross country. I don't think they could, but maybe they could. A musician certainly couldn't unless it was a consistent 100 millisecond delay, which it isn't. So there's no 5G latency benefit right now. They talked about having a faster iPhone. Can you watch a faster video? Can you have a faster phone call? These are nonsense words. I mean, they're syntactically correct, English-wise, but they're semantically ridiculous. There isn't a version of the world where that makes any sense to me. So what I'm thinking about here is the reality of 5G is that it doesn't make any difference. Will we have 5G nationwide where you have some benefit as a consumer? Yeah. 3 to 5 years from now, maybe. 10 years from now, definitely. Matt Quinn, yeah, you can play games faster. Gaming is awesome. You can definitely do gaming on a 5G device, and you're going to have a much better experience and bang them up, shoot them up. But in practice, that's really not going to happen until the network is significantly better. Where are you going to see the benefit? The actual benefit of 5G has nothing to do with you at all. It has to do with the phone company not wanting to go into your house ever. They want to be able to provision your phones from a distance, and they definitely want to be able to provision your television experience, whatever that's going to be, from the street. They have no interest in rolling a truck to your house, and that's really what 5G is about. The Apple 5G thing that Hans is getting behind, I think that's fantastic. I wish them all very well. I can't wait for real 5G, but it's a minute away. And by the way, the tower density and the spectrum that has to be allocated, not talking about industrial 5G, because industrial 5G, there are many good use cases for right now. Consumer 5G, seriously, that's just not something we need to be talking about. So if you're buying this phone for 5G, you really have to stop and think what that means. You really have to stop and think what that means. You talking about millimeter wave, Greg Grecki? Yeah, millimeter wave is great. That is real. There's no question about it. But again, the network topology is the story. The story is not you to a given tower. The story is the end-to-end performance. And the end-to-end performance is, the benefits just aren't there. Will they be? Sure, they will be, for sure. Today, this minute, buying an iPhone this second for its 5G capacity or capability is nonsense. It's nonsense. So that's thing one. And I know they're making a big deal out of it. I'll take the heat from anybody. And by the way, I will gladly debate anyone from Verizon, Sprint, or Sprint T-Mo or AT&T on this subject right now. And I have a use case that you guys have been pushing out all day long. Let's go ahead and do that use case. Let's do the following. Want to prove 5G is real? Bring it now. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take whatever 5G device you want in whatever 5G hotspot you want, and I'm going to plug an analog to digital converter into it, and I'm going to put a guitarist in that room. And then across wherever in another 5G hotspot, anywhere you tell me you have 5G, anywhere you tell me you have 5G, we're going to put a piano player. And then anywhere else in America that you say you have 5G, where it is absolutely end-to-end 5G, we're going to put a drummer. Then I'm going to count off. 1, 2, ready, play. Boom. Not going to happen. It will be impossible for those 3 musicians to play in sync. Cannot be done. No matter what you say right now, cannot be done. And since the promise of 5G is 1 to 3 milliseconds of latency, which is well inside human perception. At 3 milliseconds of latency, you don't even know something's doubled till roughly 7 milliseconds. And you won't hear it as 2 distinct things. You'll hear it as not Darth Vader, you'll hear it as the radio chatter at the end of Star Wars kind of raspiness at about 5 to 7 milliseconds. And roughly 13 milliseconds, you'll start to perceive 2 sounds. And somewhere around 14, 18 milliseconds, it'll be doubling. You'll hear doubling. 1 to 3, 1 to 5 milliseconds, human beings aren't going to hear that, and musicians can play beautifully. Deliver it. Deliver it AT&T, deliver it Verizon, deliver it T-Mobile, deliver it today, and then talk to me about 5G. I'm certainly not going to let a doctor perform surgery on me robotically across America if I can't get a guitarist, a piano player, and a drummer in sync over the same technology. So we'll do it right now, and any day, any place, anytime. Put up or shut up. Otherwise, don't talk to me about 5G having any consumer benefit. Consumer. I can do it industrially. I definitely can do this a lot of different ways. Over 5G with a consumer device, it is not possible in the United States and probably won't be for a while. All right, moving on because I've killed that puppy. Unless anybody else wants to really talk about it. Yeah, blast past fast, 5G. Okay, the next thing that's in here is this A14 Bionic chip, and this thing is awesome. Apple has outdone themselves. They make their own chips, and this chip is wow. Just wow, 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 wow. Kevin Johnson, musicians don't play with each other remotely currently, not in real time. The way you play remotely generally is you bicycle your tracks and you have a local copy and you're playing locally against something. What you're seeing, whenever you see something on television or whenever you see something on YouTube where people are playing together, it is if they are in remote locations, it is faked. There is no way that can be done in real time. There are a couple of programs out there. If you've got great Wi-Fi, great broadband, and you wire it directly into your computer, there are some wonderful jamming programs that you can go on at night and play with others. I'm not saying this can't be done. This can definitely be done. And certainly if you've got a good broadband connection, a gigabit broadband connection, and you've got a network laid out for yourself, either as a virtual private network or just literally the commercial internet, if you're using wired connections, Ethernet connections, and you've got sufficient broadband, you can play together in a pretty convincing way. Most people don't make that investment, but it can be done. Again, this is about the promise of 5G. Blast past fast. Okay, it's just not true. It's just flat out not true. Maybe true one day, not true today. That's just the way it is. So 95% hype and 5% hype. That's where my head is on this thing. Let's talk about the stuff that was cool though, because there's some things here that were really cool. I'll get to the tech specs. Let me just have a quick look at. So here are the two phones that on the bottom end of the Apple spectrum today, the iPhone Mini and the iPhone 12. Now I got to tell you, I really, really, really like the iPhone Mini. I'm not going to get it, but I really like it. And the reason I like it is that it will fit in the palm of your hand. It's sort of like the old iPhone. And it's got a lot of appeal being that super tiny. Of course, I hate it from an eyeball perspective, but it definitely has a lot of appeal. And the slightly larger one, this is the lower end of the line. They come in 64 gig and they come in up to 256. The pricing of this is they start at $699 for the smaller one. You can see it's a 5.4 inch screen or the 6.1 inch screen, which is cool. At $7.99 for starters, and it gets crazy expensive after that. This is the dual camera device. The dual camera device is, if you're going to spend, and you got some cloud storage, I'd probably opt for the bigger cameras, the bigger phones that have the better cameras. The dual lens cameras do have, I should make this bigger so you guys can see it, because you guys probably can't see that. So everyone can probably see this now. The dual 12 megapixel camera system, you don't get caught up in the megapixels. The pictures this camera takes are going to be unbelievable. The magic is in the computational photography. There is a lot to be said for a physical 1.6 f-stop, an f1.6 wide-angle lens. There's a lot to be said for an ultra-wide 2.4 120-degree field of view lens. They mix these together computationally, and it will take stunning, blow-your-mind pictures. So there, I think Apple has outdone themselves, and computational photography across the board has been evolving and evolving and evolving over the last 5-7 years. Samsung has done incredible work with this. Samsung's low light capability is unbelievable, and Apple, not to be outdone, has added some incredible low light capability. The 2x optical zoom is pretty normal. You've all seen that. It goes from 0.5 to 1 to 2, and that's optical. The digital zoom, which is computational, is up to 5x. They've made that much, much better. In all cases, you're going to get a decent bokeh effect out of this thing, and you're going to be happy and proud to own it, I think. I don't see a reason in the world why anyone would not want to have this for its camera capability. Here's the part that got me mind blown today. So I'm speaking to you through a Sony mirrorless A6600. And for those of you who are geeky, it's a fairly decent Sony camera, mirrorless camera. It's roughly, the body itself is roughly $1,000. I've got, on camera one, we have a 50 millimeter lens, which would be considered a normal lens for this camera, slightly wide angle. It's an f1.8 lens, so the bokeh effect in the back is optically created. So as that sits there, maybe that's $1,500. It might be $1,700 there. Camera 2, which is this camera here that I'm looking at, this camera has a 16 millimeter Sigma Prime on it. This is an ultra wide angle lens for this camera, and this is an A6100, the predecessor to the 6600 that we have in camera 1. And you can see even this is a very sharp plane of focus. The autofocus is particularly good, and there's some blur in the background, which is the bokeh effect here, and I'm very sharp, and this is a very quiet lens. You can use this in any environment. The motor in this autofocus is dead quiet. So why I'm bringing this up is that when you start thinking about these specifications, where both of my cameras here are 4K. And the 6100 was maybe a little less money, maybe $700-800, and that lens is roughly, the 16 millimeter lens is roughly, to go on Amazon or something, it's maybe $400. I don't remember. That camera sits there at $1,200-1,300. The camera one that you're looking at sits there roughly at $1,500-1,600. The iPhone has the capability of making a picture that you would find almost indistinguishable from these cameras. Think about that for a second. The iPhone can make a picture that is almost indistinguishable from these cameras. Two things that are mind-blowing. First, we're able to shoot 4K HDR. HDR, as you know, stands for high dynamic range. And what that means generally is they've combined HDR now, two functionalities into one phrase. HDR now not only includes high dynamic range, which means the number of f-stops from jet black, what it considers jet black, to what it considers bright white, roughly 15 f-stops, and wide color gamut. They're all thrown into this idea of HDR video, and it makes for a magnificent image. The high dynamic range changes anything into something that you would consider instantly awesome. And Dolby Vision, the Dolby Vision processing and color grading, wow, just wow is a short answer, wow. the camera shoots in 4K. That's actually less interesting to me. And the reason it's less interesting to me is that I'm almost positive you don't have the workflow capability to handle the 4K video. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So if I'm just looking at these two cameras, if I'm looking here at the 12 mini and the 12, the straight up 12, the 5.4 inch and the 6.1 inch devices, for me, either one is a great buy. They are, as I said, they're $6.99 for openers on the 5.4, $7.99 for openers on the 6.1. You can pre-order them on October 16th for an October 23rd delivery date. And they come, as you can clearly see, in black, white, green, blue, and product red, of course, which is wonderful. It's a wonderful charity. And you can get them in from 64 gigabytes to 256 gigabytes. That's an interesting decision right now. 2-3 years ago, I would definitely have wanted to always just say get the biggest amount of RAM you can get or you can afford, because the storage rather, because that's what you need. But CV, we're going to get to LiDAR in a minute, I promise. But now, since we're all super clouded up and everything can go to the cloud and you have options to selectively sync, if iCloud's not so great at that, but Dropbox is, and Google Drive is, and the Microsoft cloud products are. So you're in a situation now where you don't need every single photograph you ever took in your life to be available to you. And if you don't need every single photograph to be available all the time, you might not need the higher amount of RAM storage. However, if you're going to start shooting in 4K, you're going to eat that up like this. Literally in a heartbeat. Because 4K is a bit hog. The images are literally 4x the size of what you're used to shooting in 2K. And these are giant files. And the workflow that we're going to talk about make you think. So while I could argue of taking a bunch of photographs, making a bunch of GIFs, having a bunch of TikTok fun, I don't need to have a lot of storage in the camera. You're going to start shooting serious video in 4K, you are absolutely going to need every bit of storage you can afford in these cameras. All right, going now to the cool kids part of the video. Oh, this is Apple. More 5G. Aren't they exciting? That 5G craziness. It's a leap year. I don't know what that actually means. I guess it is. They're going to leap. They're going to talk about 5G, and they're going to talk about less bezel, more screen. You know what? The thing with their less bezel, more screen is pretty significant. It's you're going to put a case on it, so it doesn't matter what color it comes in. Here's the key feature. It's 6.7 inches. The current model, which is the 11 Pro Max, that guy is 6.5. So this thing has more screen area, a lot more screen area. They also make the regular Pro, which is a 6.1 screen, same as the 12. They like the glass they put on there. I like the glass they put on there. All this other stuff is like, okay, cool. Oh, you know what? It's IP68. For those of you who like, hey, Pierre Rotundo, how are you, big boy? If you like to take your phone in the water, if you like to take it in the bathtub, if you like to take it in your hot tub or your swimming pool, IP68 will pretty much stay waterproof down to about 6 meters for about a half an hour. Now, all of us here know there's only actually one body of water that your phone generally ends up in. It'll survive that. The Apple tools will definitely survive that. And, that's the good news. Moving on. So, I mean, these are the finishes that they've got. Blue, gold. I don't know, that graphite maybe, and they call it something else. What do they call it? Blue, gold, oh, silver. Of course, it is silver. And they call it silver, cleverly. Oh, wow, look at that 5G up in the upper right. I'm sorry, we've been down that road. All right, let's go to the tech specs, because that's the part of this that I really want to talk about. The tech specs of this phone are amazing. Absolutely amazing. So these are there are 3 lenses in this camera. It comes in 128 to 512 gigabytes. There is no reason to buy this phone without 512 of storage, without 512 gigabytes of storage, because you're going to shoot video with this phone all day, all night, full stop. You're just going to do it. It is a camera that also happens to make phone calls and allows you to browse the web. It's just that simple. Gary Einstein and I will definitely talk about the Pixel 5, which is also a great phone. I will definitely get to that. So in size and weight, they say it's thinner and lighter. Oh my goodness. I did my Tuesday Fox 5 hit this morning on Wednesday because of the iPhone announcement. And the first thing I said was I could have written this review of this phone 5 years ago. It's slightly thinner, slightly better processor, slightly better screen, slightly better battery life, slightly better camera. All true. Has all those things. The 6.7-inch screen is insane. The 3-lens camera is just what you expect. Okay, here's where this thing gets amazing. So yeah, it's a 12 megapixel camera, and like I said, you don't need to think about what that means to you from a megapixel standpoint. You just don't. Yasin Ahmed, how are you? You just need to know this thing is computationally amazing, and it makes great pictures. Here we have 3 lenses, an ultra wide, a wide, and a telephoto. And anybody who's had the iPhone 11 Pro line, either the Pro or the Pro Max, knows that you basically hold your camera up. You can close your eyes. Camera's going to take a better picture with your eyes closed than you might be able to take with it open. Hi, David Fernandez. How are you? So it's an incredible camera to begin with. None of this should surprise anybody. There's not a lot of news here until scroll down. Ah, there it is. Plain as day. Apple Pro RAW. We're shooting in Dolby Vision. We're shooting in HDR. We're shooting in 4K. I have color grading from Dolby in my videos. My stills get shot in RAW. Oh, this is incredible. Now, Apple Pro RAW allows me to do anything I can do with a RAW photo. Anything I can do with a RAW photo from any of my other cameras. Now, I shoot in RAW, and whenever I go to shoot, everybody who seriously wants to have some image control will do that. Wow. They've taken this to another place. The other thing, and I promised Kartik that I would talk about it, is that they've added LiDAR scanners to the iPhone Pro line. LiDAR stands for light detection and ranging, and it's used very commonly in self-driving cars. Cars optically look at things, and they range themselves and understand distance. Light reflects off of whatever it reflects off of, and it's measured the way radar or the sonar uses sound waves, a little bit like radar using electromagnetic radiation. This is using a light rays that it is, which is also electromagnetic radiation, to be fair and frank, for those of you who are physicists out there. LiDAR is going to make augmented reality on the iPhone something special, because in order for you to place objects where they need to be placed, you need to really understand the size and scope of the world you're in, and the only way to do that is to measure it, and the iPhone can now do that. So they've taken a couple of good steps towards the future. Now, it doesn't become pre-orderable until November 6th, and you won't get it till November 13th. And so And the little one, the smaller 6.1 inch screen, starts at $999, and the larger one, the Pro Max, starts at $1,099. And yes, Jonathan Carmel, AR is a use case for 5G, but a lot of that processing is done locally. The A14 Bionic chip can handle a ton of that, and Samsung's AR is handled locally wherever possible. And yes, the better the 5G network, the better the the edge computing, and then how quickly you can get to a cache that's right above that. Absolutely. If we had great 5G and real good network topology, and you could get to the servers and back from the cloud, that would really enhance the AR experience in every way. So yes, AR is a use case for 5G. I think when Apple comes out with their glasses, we're going to see something astounding, because that's what they kind of do. They do, they're going to Appleize AR versions of this at some point. The $1,100 price point is probably not $1,100. You're probably looking at $1,500 to $1,600, because by the time you get all the storage to the top of the line, you buy Apple Care, which you must buy with this device. You can't not have Apple Care. There's not a user serviceable part in there. Even the screen's going to cost you a fortune. So you're buying Apple Care and you're paying sales tax. Then you're going to buy a case. Oh, I forgot. In order to save the environment, which, is awesome. In order to save the environment, Apple has decided to thin the packaging down, because they felt that the packaging they were using was harmful to the world. And so they have removed the charger, and they have removed the earbuds. So no more wired earbuds, not a big whoop. Those are 29-cent earbuds they charged $29 for. And the charger, their argument was that all of us have hundreds, probably hyperbole, dozens of USB chargers all around the house. They send a cable, and the cable's awesome, but the cable they send is USB-C to Lightning. I'll say that again. The cable in the box is USB-C to Lightning. And when you go look at every cable you have in your house, it's USB-A on one side and Lightning on the other. So they're sending you a USB-C cable. How many USB-C chargers do you have? The answer is none. So yeah, God bless Apple. They are sending you no charger, no headphones, which is okay. You're going to get a USB-C to Lightning cable in the box, which, to be fair, I just think back to a happier time when the cables didn't require thousands of dongles in my wireless device. I have a thing about dongles at shellypalmer.com. You can just look at my iPhone 7 WTF article. I won't relive it here, although I want to. Back to where we are now. What actually happens instead? I'll tell you, since you're asking. Here's what goes down. They have brought back MagSafe. You can't have it in your MacBook Pro. Sorry, that's unacceptable. You have to have a terrifying USB-C connector into your MacBook Pro that when you yank on it, it gets crunched and bad things happen But in this case, what they've decided is MagSafe to be reborn. And what will it look like? It's going to look like the thing they stick on the back of the Apple Watch. That's what's going to go there. So you got a big honking magnetic wireless charger that slams on your iPhone, and that's not really that wireless because you're connecting a magnet to the back of your phone. It's $39. You can get it wherever chargers are sold, and Apple's going to happily not only sell you that, they are thinking very clearly about selling you a little wallet, credit card wallet that magnetically clips on the back of the phone too. And Belkin and a couple others have a handy dandy combo charger where you can lay your phone on the magnetic part and you can lay your Apple Watch on the other magnetic part, and it folds up for easy storage. And I think that's more than $40. So yeah, they could have just said to me, we don't want to sell chargers anymore, give away chargers, and we don't want to give away earbuds. So please buy our AirPods and please buy our charger, and we're knocking $40 off the price. They didn't. So Apple's going to save the environment, except they aren't. They aren't. I mean, it's crazy to me. They said, well, we're reducing the size of our package because we will, by doing so, we will save the carbon footprint or have the identical carbon footprint of 450,000 automobiles being taken off the road every year. That's the savings, because we'll have less shipping and less waste, and the rare earths and materials that go in the chargers and the earbuds you don't use. All of those things are going to be great for the environment. Except now I have to buy a charger that's coming from another shipper, meaning it's got to get shipped in and it's got a package. And I have to buy earphones, which are shipped in another package by another shipper. So instead of one box with 3 things in it, where at least I get the efficiencies of the shipping and at least I get the efficiencies of having all in one box, in this case, Apple, thank you for saving the environment. You've now tripled the amount of fuel, and you've now, or I should, you added 2/3 more fuel and 2/3 more packaging. Good job. Love you. Love you. Well done. So anyway, I thought that was disingenuous and somewhat insulting, and it just made me, want to rant incessantly about Apple's. Look, be greedy, man. Just go for it. Tell me you're looking for my charger money. Tell me you're looking for my headphones money. I know you are. I get it. And the MagSafe thing, it's like, oh my God, if you can do MagSafe on the phone, you think you could bring it back for my MacBook? Because this USB thing hanging off of my MacBook Pro. This is, I can't get it over here. I'll bring it over here. It's like, this is driving me crazy. This little thing, like, this is what you have to stick in there. This, I like blow on it and I rub it and I pray to it. And then when I try to put it into this, I gingerly, just gently, till it clicks and make that beautiful sound. And then I let it just gently rest. There is no version of the world where I can slam that thing in. That's a 96th cable. Upper right is what's the last of the 4 USB-Cs that I can put a power cable in, because the others have just been destroyed by the incessant road warrioring that I've been doing. So yeah, not happy, Apple people, not at all. But if you want to make me happy, you can make me a, you can definitely put MagSafe back in the next iteration of MacBooks. I will be happy, and I will applaud you for that. What else do I care about here? I don't think I care about much anything else in Apple. This was my Apple stuff. We have 15 minutes left. So thank you all here. I see a whole bunch of you here. Dale, welcome. Jeffrey Hart, welcome. Andy Marks, hey, awesome to have you here. I'd love to take some of your questions, and I'd love to Oh, you've had Matt Quint, your USB-C does not give you any issues. Yes, but you have a Dell laptop where they probably pay more attention to the USB-C jack. They pay no attention. I get no love from my MacBook Pro 15-inch all singing, all dancing with the Kung Fu grip. It really doesn't do any of the things I wish it would do when it comes to its power consumption. I did buy a really overpriced Elgato docking station for it in order to give it a little bit of a rest. And that seems to work pretty nicely. It's just insanely expensive for what it is. So, yeah. So, how did you change the setup today? Rochelle Winters. Well, many things happened. I have, as you can probably see on camera 2, This is kind of the bat cave. And this is my house. It's a little 12 by 12 room in the basement of my house in Connecticut. What I have here, just for those who are interested, there's a teleprompter. Behind it is the A6600. This camera is the A6100 here, this camera with the 16 millimeter lens. There's actually a Lumix GH3, an old one there. And above me, there's a Panasonic Handycam, basically, that I can use to do demos on this area here when I want to demonstrate something. This is a Samsung 49-inch gaming monitor. Over here is the experimental tool that we changed for today. I had been streaming on the MacBook Pro, and now we are streaming today using OBS, which is Open Broadcast Studio, OBS Studio. We're going out through Restream, and if you don't use Restream, you should be using Restream. You can send your signal out to the entire world at once. There's a free tier, there's paid tiers. The chat client is, all the chats are being aggregated from all of the various distribution points, Periscope, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, all of that is coming in through the Restream chat client. So this is OBS into Restream, and I'm able to watch the chat here. This device is a Windows PC. It's a gaming computer, one of the first Windows PCs I've spent any time with in years, actually. I have a few Windows laptops around because I need to stay facile in Windows 10. A lot of my clients are on Windows. I'm sure a lot of your clients and you might be on Windows also. But I haven't really stressed the platform in any way, and I haven't really tortured it because I don't use it every day of my life. Well, for the last 2 weeks, I have been hooked up with this. It's an HP Omen 880-191 that I tricked out a little bit. I got it from a refurb list that my brother, who is in the computer business, sent me. It's like, will any of these computers do for the experiment you want to do? And the answer is, yeah, that would be cool. And why is it cool? This is, it's got an i7 9700 in it, which is not the fastest processor ever. It would have been nicer with an i9, but it certainly will do, because what we're doing now is more GPU intensive than CPU intensive. And in there is an NVIDIA 2080 Ti 11 gigabyte graphics card. And it's just been replaced, of course, by the 3000 series. The 3080s came out just a few weeks ago, and they are half the price, and they are 4 times as powerful, and we will ultimately get that. But I wanted to be able to do this with these tools, and I wanted to be able to do an experiment, and I didn't want to spend the $10,000 I'm about to spend on that rig when I could spend a lot less on this rig. So there's 64 gigabytes of RAM in this. This computer also has a 8 terabyte Samsung SSD, as well as a 1 terabyte Samsung boot drive. So there's a solid state boot drive, and then there's actually solid state storage as its boot drive, and then there's the Samsung 8 terabyte SSD for regular storage. Everything that I care about is stored to the cloud in the various tools that we use. And then just to finish it out, this is a Elgato Stream Deck, and I programmed some things into this that I could, just play with. You guys can talk amongst yourselves while, or I can have kids cheering, or I can do, I can do whatever I can do whatever I want to do from either a sound effects perspective, or I have cameras that I can instantly call scenes up. So this is the picture-in-picture from this. This is the main camera. This is camera 2 that I can turn to. There's a camera 2 pics and pics that I can turn to. I've got this really cool little scroll that I could sit here and now I can scroll and talk to you about the way I would like, if possible, for you to give us a thumbs up and or find me on Twitter. In the case of the rest of the rig is really simple. Above me is a Rode NT5 pencil condenser, and I have it facing generally where my mouth is. I ordinarily would have it exactly 6 inches or to 8 inches away, just out of frame. It is just out of frame. Why am I not using a shotgun? Why am I using a pencil condenser? I'll pull it down so you can see it. Why am I using a pencil condenser? In a room that's this small, and this room is small, it's like 12 by 11 or something. The standing waves in this room would make a shotgun overbassed. Like I would have to EQ it to death to not sound like a basso profundo. So here I can just sound like me using this little pencil condenser. By the way, a shotgun is a pencil condenser with a long nose on it. So this is just like the shotgun without the long nose. They're not that expensive. They're a couple $100 at either Amazon or B&H Photo, or wherever you like to buy them. By the way, I put in the chat, you can go to it's I think it's kit.co
/ Shelly Palmer.
Yeah. If you do that, you'll see the whole kit, like all the things. I just put everything there in the list if you're interested in it. The last part of the kit that's fun, after the Elgato Stream Deck, and are my little Genelec speakers. I'm an audio guy from a long time ago, composer, producer, and I started my career writing music for television and building audio studios. And there is no such thing as computer sound that makes me happy. So there's a good digital to analog converter here, very good, and speakers that are at ear level exactly, and I'm sitting generally equidistant. They're on monitor arms and they're movable, and so when I'm mixing, I can put them exactly where they need to be so I can have a good stereo 3D image field here. This is not where I would prefer to mix. Mostly you would mix nowadays in either in 5.1 or even 2.1. This is just stereo. This is a 2.0 mix. So, but it's really super fun during the day to be able to crank this thing up on Spotify and have a little bit of fun with it. So that's basically the rig. There's a little more to it than that. I'm a big fan of this device, which is, I'll pull this out. This is this guy is an H6. It's oddly enough called a Zoom. It comes with microphones if you want it to use its own microphones. It can be an audio interface, and it's actually not a bad one. So you can plug a mic, or actually 4 mics into that, and get and mix on it, and it's not bad at all. What I generally use it for is when I'm recording here and I'm looking at a teleprompter, what I generally do is I don't use the camera audio, and I do record audio everywhere. The cameras all have microphones that are part of the camera. Obviously, the pencil condenser is hooked up, and that's going to whatever I'm recording to. So if that's going to be a QuickTime movie, or if I'm going to record into OBS directly, or if whatever I'm going to record into in the computer, then I take a totally separate audio track. And you're all going to laugh. This was $7.98 on Amazon. I love this thing. I don't write on it, but I love it. And if you're wondering what you use that for, you use it for the same thing today as they did in 1910, or as I did in film school. That just lets you very easily just take your clap and say, okay, that's the front of your audio. And in the world we live in today, if you get your workflow together and you're in sync, you're in sync. I did want to talk about workflow today a little bit. I did want to talk about workflow and 4K. One of the things that Apple is telling us right now is that, I'm sure the sync is off. The streaming thing is insane. I have no idea what this is realistically going to look or sound like. So yes, Mike Schreiben, I'm sure the sync is off. From a workflow perspective, I can tell you with a lot of personal experience that unless you have a fair amount of workflow for 4K setup, that requires the ability to move massive files around from hard drive to hard drive, and the ability to edit in real time. You need to be able to back these up. They need to sit in arrays that are called RAID arrays. redundant, inexpensive array, RAID, redundant array of inexpensive devices, or however, it's some version of that. But it's a way that you lay out your hard drive so that you don't lose your files. And these drives have to be badass, and you need a lot of them, and you need a ton of storage. And unless you're going to do that, starting down the 4K path is crazy. There's nothing we're doing here that requires 4K. Today we can only stream in 1280 by 720, which is the lower quality version of HD. And that's the best we can probably do for a while. And you wouldn't need to do more than that. Yes, you can definitely shoot in 8K. You can shoot in 6K. You can shoot in 4K. And if you've got the tools for it, go for it. I definitely understand why some YouTubers do it. It looks demonstrably better. The color space is better, but it looks better only to the eye of those who are looking for it. I would recommend to you most seriously, concentrate on the content and not worry so much about the image quality once you get past a point, because we need to be good enough for everyone to enjoy the image quality without going crazy and adding $100,000 of workflow to something that just doesn't need it. It's 3:58 and a little bit, and we always do this from 3 to 4. I hope you've enjoyed this. I have, and thank you everybody for joining. I really, really appreciate it. Email me, Shelly at shellypalmer.com, or DM me at Shelly Palmer. We do salons every weekday. You can go to shellypalmer.com/salons and sign up for one. You'll meet some new people. You'll bump into some old friends. We're going to keep doing this every week, and hopefully this format I'll get better at it, and you guys will help me get better at it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate everyone joining today. This was a way for me to just work out with some of the technology. There's a lot more tools and tricks and tips coming, and I have more to learn and much more to do before I will consider myself ready for prime time. And this is one of the ways I'm getting there. So with that, again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for hanging out with me today, and I look forward to seeing all of you at a Shelly Palmer salon or at one of our other virtual events sometime soon. Have a great day. Thank you so much.